Hey, what's going on, guys? Mike here from Arizona, just doing a quick video, and I really just wanted to say that I really do enjoy these beta setups that I have here. These are probably the best setups that you can possibly have if you're keeping multiple bettas. Now, in general, what we are going to do in the future, which we haven't done yet, is we're going to attach them all to pretty much a sump, or maybe do individual sponge filters. I haven't decided yet. I think maybe I'm going to go with the individual sponge filters to keep, you know, some separation, because at the end of the day, you really don't know if a fish comes in sick. Now, again, this one actually is all completely separate units. So even if I wanted to, I'd have to actually drill holes in this to get the water to flow from one side to the other, where this one actually flows from one side to the other, no problem. But this one right here is separate units, so I'd have to drill holes. So what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm actually going to do an update to my fish room to get the air to come over here and do individual little sponge filters for each one of these tanks. And it just depends on the amount of flow that we get, the airflow. Obviously, if it's too much, I'm not going to do it, because that's not the idea. The idea is having the fish to be healthy and happy. Now, again, it's always great to have filters, but I do like the low-tech approach because it's not too much flow to stress out the fish. So overall, I want to say that I really do want to put little sponge filters in here, or connect them at some point. I think I'm more leaning towards the putting the sponge filters in and just keeping each system separate, just in case there is an outbreak of something. I don't have to completely treat the entire system, which, you know, obviously is something that could be detrimental to all the fish if you're starting to treat for things that they don't have, or maybe all the fish get ick. Just not a good scenario. So I think we're going to lean towards individual sponge filters for each one of these, but it's going good. But I want to point out something that a lot of people always ask me, and hey, what's an easy way to plant out my beta aquarium with plants that literally don't require much work? So let me show you real quick of what I have here. So let's start with this one right here. These are banana plants. Banana plants are awesome in the sense where they are good under low light, they're good under highlight. If you want more of a lower plant, you keep them under highlight, and there you go, they stay pretty small. When they are healthy, you will see that they'll start to grow roots and try to root themselves in the substrate. Now, that's one. Another one would be Java fern. Java fern is typically a low light plant, but could adjust to highlight. You could just stick this in gravel and it'll be fine just like that. This one has been in here for a while and have no issues with that. Another one would be, let me take this one right here, Anubias. See, I just have like a little bit of a lead weight holding it down, but you could tie those to pieces of driftwood. You can tie them to different things. But again, a low light plant could be in highlight. It adjusts to the situation that it's in, and they come in many shapes and sizes. So that's a Nana Petite. Here's another Anubias right here. That's a bigger variety. So they come in many different shapes and sizes. So if you're looking for different shaped leaves, Anubias is definitely the way to go. It doesn't really require anything. The only thing it really requires is not to bury the rhizome, because the rhizome actually does need light to survive. Here's another thing that you can do is now these are heavy root feeders. However, I've noticed they grow out. I don't even have them planted. This is this is dwarf sage, which is kind of that's kind of a grass plant. And what's awesome about the dwarf sage is it grows a lot of runners, and if you do have a really nice planted tank, or a beta tank like this, you add a little bit of root tabs to it, this dwarf sage will take over the entire bottom as like a grass carpet, and again stays low under highlight and goes really tall under low light. I mean, not super tall, but tall enough, like this one in the background. Now there's a lot of moving around duckweed in there because I just stirred it up, but that one back there is probably six or so inches tall, because it's covered in duckweed, so it's not getting as much light as it wants, and it's reaching towards the top. So another thing I would recommend would be these right here. These are red tiger lotus. As you can see, they have red in colorations, maybe a little bit of purple and green. But those are completely awesome. As you see here, they're growing with no substrate at all. And they are typically heavy root feeders, but I've noticed that if I put them in tanks with no substrate, they still sprout and do what they do in substrate. And sometimes better than being in substrate, because substrate, they can actually bury themselves quite deep and start propagating around your tank, and sometimes they can take over and they become pretty invasive. But as you can see, look at this plant. Like it's awesome. Great plant, low maintenance, and they seem to grow no matter what you do with them. But I figured I'd do this video because a lot of people ask me, well, I have a betta fish and I don't have a high-tech tank, I don't have CO2, what are the plants I could use? Well, these are my favorite here that I would say are the best ones to use. There are other ones that are just as easy, but these happen to be right now in my little displays as we talk. So I just wanted to give you guys this heads up for anybody curious about that. Thank you for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe, and visit us at greenoasisfarms.com.